Only I may dance. God, that's actually reminds me of Destiny, you know, and like.
What with the characters dancing? Yeah, true. So, are we sitting at the right level? Are you sitting behind?
I always move back. I don't want to be around your stench.
That Optimus Prime mask that I had was the stankiest thing I've ever fucking smelled in my life.
Should we bring it out again? No jokes.
It was disgusting.
It smelled of sex.
What the fuck have you been doing with it?
Sorry.
Seriously.
You saw in the video what I was doing with it.
Your girlfriend's all like, can you wear the mask? It's an improvement.
Name again is Mr. Plow.
So what happened this week was that Battleborn, which is a game that was released by Gearbox, kind of died. Battleborn came out a while ago.
It's overtaking Overwatch, isn't it?
Actually,
it's going amazing.
Look, to be honest, I'm a complete liar. I'll be straight with you guys. It didn't die. It was already dead at launch. It's been dead for like 3 years. Just kind of like sitting there as this stinking carcass. Just like honestly rotting slowly.
And Overwatch is sitting there
buzzing around it.
Yeah, and Overwatch is
just teabagging
there, teabagging it.
That's right.
We actually played it when it was still just about to come out. And we both, when we first played it, were like, this game is not going to pick up.
I did not say that. I said that it was fine. No, I did not say that. You think
we
that
waited
I didn't
in
like
line
this game?
together?
We did, and I was like, okay, cool. It could be interesting, but I don't see it yet.
Well, I mean, I just heard something different.
Oh, that's right. You can hear whatever you like. That's why you always.
Obviously...
That's why you always hear women saying you're so attractive, and really all they're saying is, "Get the fuck away from me, you prick." Battleborn was a MOBA, right? Everyone kind of thinks it was an Overwatch game, but it wasn't. It was a fundamentally different game. Whereas, you know, the likes of Overwatch is a third-person tactical hero shooter. It's a different thing, right? Anyway, they came out at basically the same time. Randy Pickford, who is the head of Gearbox, was basically like, you know what, guys, we're just going to release it at the same time as Blizzard's new juggernaut that everyone's fucking hyped as fuck about. It's going to be fine. Don't worry. We'll just push it out at that same time. Completely bombed at launch. No player count whatsoever. And then after a while, they actually had to make it free to play, which is what they did. Oh my god. Oof. Free trial, free to play Battleborn, playing an hour ago.
41 people.
41 people. That's worse than Lawbreakers, I think. I think that had about 50 people.
No, there was actually I was watching a little thing on it the other day, and there was 2 spots this month that there was 0 people playing.
Really?
0 people playing Lawbreakers.
Oh, that's so sad.
Rest in peace, Lawbreakers.
Rest in peace.
I went around and met with EA, Activision, Ubisoft, and I'd go into this meeting a little bit cocky, and I'd put the book down, and I'd be like, I want to make another $1 billion IP.
If you haven't seen it, guys, cross promotion here. Watch our other video.
We did a Lawbreakers video as well. But anyway,
on paper, Battleborn sounds like a really cool idea. A first-person MOBA, awesome. If they didn't, third person. Sorry. If they didn't, I think it was third person.
Anyway,
was it first person?
Now I'm thinking maybe it was actually third person.
It's first person.
I think it was actually first person. Anyway, it was a first or third person moment.
First or third person. We know our stuff before we jump on here every time. It sounds really cool, and I really think if they didn't actually release it at the same time of Overwatch, even if it was 6 months later, maybe they would have had a different outcome.
I know you love video games, and I asked the clerk which is the one every boy wants. You got me. Oh yeah!
Personally, when I played it, I didn't think it had I didn't really like it. It didn't catch me like League of Legends catches you the moment you're playing it. Like, oh, there's, you know what I mean? Like, it just didn't catch me like Overwatch does, or like, it didn't catch me.
So what happened this week was that they announced, the developers Gearbox said that there's no more updates. After this fall, they're going to apply one last update, and then it goes into maintenance mode, which basically means that there's no new content, there's no new characters, there's no new levels, no new anything.
Bugs.
Just actually probably not even fixing bugs unless they're really game breaking.
So they're completely abandoning that. That's crazy.
So the question is, do publishers have an obligation to stick with their games for a number of years after launch, even if those games don't have a player base? Or is it a case of, well, if you guys don't want to play our game, then there's no point in us supporting our game, so we all just have to agree that we should move on?
I see both sides. If there's not a community there and they need to move on, they need to just clear the whiteboard and go, okay, we're starting fresh. But there's also an obligation there, I think, to people that have bought that game. You know, they invested money into that. In some respects, you have to honor that, at least for a period of time. Give those people, even if it is only, 40 people playing, there should be some sort of time frame that they go, we're going to honour the players that did buy our game.
There was content released over the course of this year. There was
Okay.
new characters and stuff. They did stuff, but 40 players, man. If I was an executive working at Gearbox, there's no question what I'm doing. I mean, I'm shutting that thing
You reckon?
down. 40 players. You cannot run a business.
I'm not saying run a business. I'm just saying leave a very, very small skeleton staff to at least maintain that game in some way, shape, or form.
That's what they're doing.
Okay.
But it's a case of are they obligated to continue to support it with new content and stuff to try and keep it going, or do you just cut your losses? And I'm saying when it's 40 people, man, you cut your losses.
I kind of get it. When it's 40 people, like, okay, if it was 7,000 to 10,000 people, which is still relatively successful at any given time, I'd say press on.
Sure.
It's not breaking any records.
The Division only has about 3,000 people playing at a time.
Oh, really? Okay.
On Steam, by the way. Not Uplay, not the consoles, just Steam, by the way. So don't get triggered by that number. Everyone gets triggered by that number.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying. Like, it's...
Some people are really pissed off there. They're like, fuck Gearbox, man, I can't believe they're abandoning the title, whatever. It's like, dude, what do you want from them?
I
do you want them
see
just to
both
go
sides.
bankrupt, though? Like, how could you see the other side of it? I'm like, there's no one playing this game. Why would you
No,
stick
what I'm
with it?
saying is, I get why they're abandoning it. Don't get me wrong. They're a business and they have to make money. What I'm saying is, although I would like to think that they could release some new content for the people that did buy that game, in the real world, that's not really possible with these numbers. I'm just saying, I see where they're coming from, people that have invested money and they feel disappointed. And they feel like they
100%.
have been let down.
I bought this game.
That's all I'm saying.
I bought this game, by the way. This game sold 400,000 units, and I was one of those 400,000 people.
That's still pretty good. Like,
It's still, and actually, Randy Pickford said something kind of obnoxious, like, well, if it didn't release alongside Overwatch, people would have said it was successful. Borderlands, by the way, sold about 12 or 13 million copies, and then they went ahead and entered this market, which was with Overwatch threatening them. It was
already saturated.
It was already kind of it wasn't saturated back when they started development, but they didn't have any expertise in this area. Rather than going after Borderlands 3, which everyone wanted, they made this instead.
hang on.
And it's kind of like, and I remember one quote, by the way, that was from Randy Pickford that said, the future of Gearbox now rests on Battleborn. That is what our studio's future is. And it's kind of like, dude, don't you remember that you just made a little game called Borderlands, and it was the best fucking thing ever? Like, why isn't that the future of your company instead of this shit?
well, you can't say that they went into territory that they didn't know, because Blizzard, they made Overwatch, and that was the first-person shooter they ever did.
I'm not saying don't try and go into new areas. I'm just saying don't make your whole company about it. If it's totally new IP,
I agree with
and you've already got some IP, that's awesome. It'd be like Blizzard saying, well, you know what, Overwatch is pretty cool and stuff, but I reckon the future of our company now is Heroes of the Storm. It's like, no, it's not. Trust us. It's fine and whatever, but it's not the future.
It could have been.
Well, I don't know.
If they just...
That's a whole other story.
We won't get into it.
Yeah. Hot sucks. What
does trigger that.
fucking blows. It breaks my heart. I don't like seeing developers doing poorly. I don't like Randy Pickford, but Gearbox is obviously full of a whole bunch of really passionate developers who work really hard, and we want them to be successful, but like...
I can't think of any game that I've ever wanted to fail. God, I want everyone...
I kind of want Shadow of War to fail, and I kind of want NBA 2K18
I don't want them to
fail.
fail. I just want them to kind of get a bit of a slap in the face to go, okay, we can't do that.
But that slap in the face is failure.
Well, yeah, you're right. But I personally feel like when someone puts their heart and soul into a game for a number of years, God, it's such a terrible... Like, when I saw Cliffy B, the whole Lawbreakers thing, I was like, oh man, that must suck. Not only for Cliffy B, but for everyone that was involved. They threw their whole life for the last 3 or 5 years into that game.
Yeah.
And for it now to become like the joke of games, it's like, God, what, that must suck for them.
True.
It's the same thing with Battleborn. I really feel for anyone that their whole last 3 or 5 years has been a complete waste of time.
I mean, not wasting
It becomes
time,
a living
obviously,
meme.
but it does become a case of they could have had a lot more success and had better, bigger careers and made more money and had bigger, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, they could have had better lives, probably, had this game become some huge success, rather than now where it's like a little thing on their CV and it's kind of like, well, I was on that.
It's not really a thing, and it's like, oh, great, like, oh,
Battleborn.
you worked on Battleborn.
Were you in charge of the marketing and the launch timing?
We'll call you.
That's right.